Mussoorie was draped in a soft white mist. It was as if the clouds had come down to kiss the mountains. The air was fresh and held a sweet smell of pine trees. Little drops of dew rested on green leaves, sparkling like tiny diamonds in the early morning light. The winding roads seemed to go on forever, disappearing into the fog. Every corner of this hill station felt like a secret waiting to be discovered. It was a place that made you feel something deep inside. It made you feel calm, and a little bit lonely, at the same time. The mountains stood tall and silent, watching over the town like ancient guardians. This was Mussoorie, the Queen of Hills, a place where stories were born. Into this beautiful painting walked Ayaan. He was a photographer, but he didn't just take pictures. He captured feelings. He believed that every photograph was a story, frozen in time. He came to Mussoorie for a project. His editor wanted pictures of the hills, the kind that would make someone sitting in a busy city feel the peace of the mountains. Ayaan carried his camera everywhere. It was like a part of him. He looked at the world through his lens, searching for that one perfect shot. He was looking for a picture that could tell the whole story of Mussoorie in a single frame. He was good at his job, but his heart often felt as empty as an unclicked camera. Ayaan wandered through the misty lanes, his eyes scanning everything. He saw the colonial-era buildings with their sloping roofs. He saw the happy faces of tourists and the quiet smiles of the local people. He photographed the play of light and shadow on the hillsides. Yet, he felt something was missing. His pictures were beautiful, but they lacked a soul. They were just images of a place, not the feeling of it. He wanted to capture the magic that everyone talked about when they mentioned Mussoorie. He wanted to find the poetry hidden in the landscapes. He just didn't know that the poetry he was looking for was not in a place, but in a person. He checked into a small hotel with a window that opened to a view of the Dune Valley. At night, the valley glittered with 1,000 lights, looking like a carpet of stars on the earth. Ayaan would sit by his window for hours, just looking. He felt a strange connection to this place. It was beautiful, but it also made him feel his own loneliness more deeply. He wondered if he would ever find something, or someone, to fill the quiet spaces in his life. He hoped this trip would give him more than just a few good photographs for his magazine. He hoped it would give him a memory that he could keep forever. One afternoon, the sky turned a dark gray. A gentle rain began to fall, making the whole town smell of wet earth. Ayaan was walking on a quiet path away from the main town, looking for a unique view. He found a small bench under a large deodar tree and sat down, protecting his camera from the drizzle. The world around him was quiet, except for the soft sound of the rain. It was a perfect moment of peace. He closed his eyes, just listening. He felt like he was the only person in the world. He was lost in the rhythm of the raindrops falling on the leaves, a gentle and calming music made by nature itself. That's when he heard a soft voice. The rain doesn't ask for permission, does it? It just comes and washes everything clean. He opened his eyes and saw her. A girl was standing a few feet away, holding a book close to her chest to save it from the rain. She had a simple charm, with eyes that were as deep and mysterious as the misty valleys. She wasn't looking at him, but at the falling rain. Her words were simple, but they felt like a line from a poem. Ayaan, who usually captured moments with his camera, found himself completely captured by this one. He felt a sudden urge to know more about this girl who spoke like poetry. He smiled and replied, "No, it doesn't, and I'm glad. Sometimes we need a little washing." The girl turned to him and smiled back. Her smile was like the first ray of sunshine after a long rain. "I'm Meher," she said. "I love the rain. It makes the world feel new." Ayaan introduced himself. "I'm Ayaan. I'm a photographer, trying to capture this newness." Meher looked at his camera and then back at him. "You capture moments, and I try to capture feelings in words," she said, showing him the cover of her poetry book. It was an instant connection, a meeting of two souls who saw the world in a similar beautiful way. They talked for a long time, even after the rain stopped. The bench under the deodar tree became their first special place. Mayer told him about her love for poetry, and how Mussoorie was her muse. She said every tree, every cloud, and every stone had a poem hidden inside it. Ayaan listened, completely fascinated. He had been looking for the soul of Mussoorie, and he felt like he had just found it. He found it in Mayer's words, in her bright eyes, and in her simple, heartfelt love for the mountains. He knew, right there and then, that this trip was no longer just about his work. It was about something much more. Their friendship grew as quickly as the wildflowers on the hillsides of Mussoorie. Every day was a new adventure. They started exploring the town together. One of their favorite things to do was to walk along Mall Road in the evening. The road was always alive with energy. People were everywhere, laughing and talking. The shops were bright with lights, selling everything from colorful sweaters to wooden handicrafts. The smell of roasted corn and hot momos filled the air. For Ayaan, Mall Road was just a busy street before. But with Mayer, it became a path of joy. He loved watching her as she looked at everything with wide-eyed wonder. Mayer would point at little things that Ayaan would have otherwise missed. She showed him an old post box, still in use, and imagined the stories of the letters it held. She would stop to listen to a flute seller, closing her eyes as the sweet music filled the air. "Listen," she would whisper to Ayaan. "That's the song of the mountains." Ayaan started seeing the world through her eyes. He began to see the poetry in the ordinary. He took pictures of her laughing, of her looking at the sunset, of her hand pointing towards a distant peak. His camera was no longer just capturing landscapes, it was capturing his growing love for Mayer. They would often sit on a bench overlooking the valley. Mayer would read her favorite poems to him. Her voice was soft and full of emotion. The words of the poems mixed with the cool mountain breeze and created a magical feeling. Ayaan would just listen, his heart feeling full. He shared his own dreams with her. He told her about his passion for photography, and his desire to tell stories that touched people's hearts. Mayer listened with great interest. She told him, "Your pictures are already poems, Ayaan. You just need to show them to the world." Her belief in him was a gift he had never received before. Their hands found each other naturally during one of their walks. It wasn't a planned moment. It just happened. Her hand was warm in his, and it felt right. It felt like they were two parts of a puzzle that had finally come together. Walking hand in hand on the crowded Mall Road, they felt like they were in their own little world. The noise of the crowd faded away. All they could hear was the beating of their own hearts. They were happy. It was a simple, pure happiness that needed no words. It was a happiness that Ayaan wished he could capture and keep forever. Their journey of love took them to the highest points of Mussoorie. One sunny morning, they took the cable car to Gun Hill. As they went up, the town became smaller and smaller below them. The view from the top was, honestly, just breathtaking. They could see the entire snow-capped Himalayan range stretching across the horizon. The mountains looked majestic and powerful. Mayer stood there, her hair flying in the wind, looking at the mountains with awe. Ayaan couldn't resist taking a picture. It became one of his favorite photographs. Mayer, standing against the backdrop of the mighty Himalayas, looking as free and beautiful as the mountains themselves. "They look so eternal, don't they?" Mayer said, her voice a soft whisper. "Like they have been here forever, and will be here forever." Ayaan stood beside her and nodded. "They make all our worries feel so small," he replied. They spent hours there, just talking and being with each other. They shared stories from their childhood and dreams for their future. Ayaan felt like he was on top of the world, not just because he was at Gun Hill, but because he was with Mayer. He had never felt so connected to another person before. Every moment with her was a precious memory in the making. Another day, they hiked to Lal Tiba, the highest point in Mussoorie. They sat at a small cafe, sipping hot tea and looking through the old telescope placed there. They took turns, looking at the distant peaks, calling out their names like excited children. The air was thin and crisp. A sense of peace surrounded them. Meher rested her head on Ayaan's shoulder. "I wish we could stop time. Right here," she said, softly. "Just you, me, and these mountains." Ayaan put his arm around her and held her close. "We can't stop time, Meher," he said, "but we can make this moment last forever in our memories." But sometimes, a shadow of sadness would cross Meher's face. Ayaan would notice it when she thought he wasn't looking. She would sometimes talk about how things change and how nothing lasts forever. Ayaan would try to cheer her up, telling her that their love was different. "Our love is like these mountains, Meher. It will last," he would say. She would just smile a faint, sad smile and hold his hand tighter. Ayaan didn't understand her worries then. He was too lost in his happiness to see the storm that was gathering on the horizon. He believed their love story was a fairy tale with a happy ending. The days turned into weeks. Ayaan's project was nearing its end, but he kept extending his stay. He couldn't imagine leaving Mussoorie. He couldn't imagine leaving Meher. Their bond had grown deeper with each passing day. They had become a part of each other's lives. They made plans for the future. Ayaan wanted to take Meher to his city and show her his world. Meher wanted to write a book of poems about their love story in Mussoorie. Their dreams were woven together, creating a beautiful tapestry of a shared future. They were sure that their story was just beginning. One evening, they were at their special bench under the deodar tree. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. It was a beautiful sight, but Meher was unusually quiet. She held Ayaan's hand tightly, as if she was afraid to let go. "Ayaan," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "if I ever have to go away, will you remember me?" Ayaan was confused. "Go away? Where would you go, Meher?" He tried to make a joke. "Are you planning to run away with a handsome poet?" He wanted to see her laugh, but she didn't. She looked into his eyes, and he saw a deep sadness in them. "Just promise me," she insisted. "Promise me you will remember our walks, our talks, and the poems. Promise me you won't be sad for too long." Ayaan felt a knot of fear in his stomach. He didn't understand what she was saying, but her words scared him. He held her face in his hands. "Meher, what's wrong? You are scaring me. Nothing is going to happen. We will always be together." He hugged her tightly, trying to protect her from her own fears, from the fears he couldn't see or understand. He felt her tears on his shoulder. The next morning, Ayaan woke up feeling uneasy. He remembered their conversation from the previous evening. He decided to go and meet Meher and talk to her properly. He wanted to tell her that they could face anything together. He went to the small cottage where she lived with her aunt. He knocked on the door, expecting to see her smiling face. But it was her aunt who opened the door. Her eyes were red and swollen. Before Ayaan could even ask, she told him the words that shattered his world into a million pieces. "Meher is gone, Ayaan. She left early in the morning." Ayaan's heart stopped. "Gone? What do you mean, gone? Where did she go?" he asked, his voice filled with panic. He searched for an answer in the aunt's sad eyes. He couldn't believe it. Meher couldn't just leave, not without him, not after everything they had shared. Her aunt just shook her head and handed him a sealed envelope. "She left this for you," she said, her voice breaking. Ayaan's hands trembled as he took the letter. His name was written on it in Meher's familiar, beautiful handwriting. He stumbled back to his hotel, his mind numb with shock and confusion. He felt like he was in a nightmare. He sat on his bed and tore open the envelope. The letter was long, and he could see tear stains on the paper. He began to read. "My dearest Ayaan, it started. If you are reading this, it means I am gone. Please forgive me for leaving without saying goodbye. I couldn't do it. I am not strong enough. As he read on, the terrible truth unfolded. Meher had been sick for a long time. She had a serious illness and the doctors had told her she didn't have much time left. She came to Mussoorie to spend her last days in the place she loved the most. She didn't expect to find love. She didn't expect to find him. Meeting you was the most beautiful thing that ever happened to me, Ayaan, she wrote. You gave me a lifetime of happiness in just a few weeks, but I couldn't tell you the truth. I didn't want you to see me suffer. I didn't want your memories of me to be of sickness and pain. I wanted you to remember me as the girl who loved poetry and the rain, the girl who walked with you on Mall Road and dreamed with you at Lal Tiba. My illness was getting worse and I had to go. I have gone to a place where I can be at peace. Please don't try to find me. Ayaan's world collapsed. He read the letter again and again, but the words didn't change. The pain in his chest was unbearable. It felt like a physical wound. He cried for Meher, for their lost future, and for the love that was snatched away from him so cruelly. He looked around his room at the photographs he had taken. There she was, smiling, laughing, full of life. It was impossible to believe that she was gone. The letter ended with a final, heartbreaking line. Live your life, Ayaan. Fulfill your dreams. And every time you see the mist in Mussoorie, know that I am there with you. Forever yours, Meher. The days that followed were a blur of pain for Ayaan. The vibrant colors of Mussoorie now seemed gray and lifeless. The joyful sounds of the town were just noise to his ears. He walked the same paths they had walked together, but now he walked alone. He went back to Mall Road, to Gun Hill, to Lal Tiba. He even sat on their special bench under the deodar tree. But every place was haunted by her memory. Nothing was the same without her. The beauty of Mussoorie that had once filled him with joy now only brought him immense pain. It was a constant reminder of what he had lost, but as time passed, something began to change. The sharp pain of grief slowly started to turn into a gentle sadness. Ayaan started looking at the photographs he had taken of Meher. In every picture, she was smiling. She was so full of life and happiness. He remembered her words from the letter. She wanted him to remember her happy. He realized that her love was not gone. It was still there, in his memories, in his heart, and in his photographs. Her love had not been a tragedy. It had been a beautiful, precious gift. He decided to honor her memory, not with tears, but with his art. Ayaan left Mussoorie, but a part of his soul remained there forever. He went back to his life and his work, but he was a changed man. He put together a collection of all the photographs he had taken in Mussoorie. The collection was not just about the landscapes. It was a story. It was their story. The centerpiece of the exhibition was the photograph he took of Meher at Gun Hill, standing against the Himalayas. He titled the exhibition, Love in Mussoorie. It became a huge success. People were touched by the emotion and the story in his pictures. Ayaan became a famous photographer. Years later, Ayaan returned to Mussoorie. The town was still the same, beautiful and enchanting. He was no longer the heartbroken boy who had left it. He was a man who had learned to live with his loss and cherish his memories. He stood at Lal Tiba, looking at the mountains, and he felt her presence all around him. He felt her in the cool breeze, in the misty clouds, and in the whisper of the pine trees. He knew that Meher was right. Love doesn't die. It lives on in memories, in art, and in the places where it was born. And in the heart of Mussoorie, their love story would live on, forever.